Hi everyone, Simon Keeling here. It's Friday the 14th of December. Thanks again for watching weatherweb.net. Remember the site to get free of charge by you coming back and using the site by using the adverts and by going through to the adverts and telling your friends about us, and also by following us on Twitter. You can follow us at Weather School and also do a search on Facebook for Weather School. That's what keeps it free of charge. So thank you for all of you for coming along and using the site. Now, only a few days left until the final deadline for ordering for Christmas, which is the 18th of December. I couldn't resist the chance for a little bit of promotion. I know many of you got the books and DVDs already, but just to let you know that my Weatherwise DVD still here, still available. It lasts for 2 hours and it's got about 30 videos, 30 short videos explaining the weather. I explain why the weather does what it does, explains all about air masses, fronts, highs, lows, tells you all about clouds, about why weather forms. Very useful little DVD there. You can order it directly from the site. And also we've got my Pocket Weather Forecaster book as well, and that explains all about clouds, different clouds types. Got lots of pictures in, look, of different types of clouds, and it explains what they mean and what weather you can get when you see those sort of clouds. So we've got the book and we've got the DVD as well, both available from the website. Now if you just go to the website, click on Books by Simon there at the top of the page, it brings you up this page. You can see samples of the books and DVDs, and you can order directly online too. Okay, thanks for allowing me to do a bit of promotion there for you. I'm sure you don't mind. Right, lots of information to try and get through today. Just wanted to show you these couple of charts. First of all, this is the accuracy level of models. So, you know, sometimes people say, well, how accurate are these models? Well, this gives you an idea. This is the running accuracy for the 500 millibar flow, and for various different models. Look, you can see there UK Met Office is green, the ECMWF is red, GFS is black, with the Canadian being blue. So this is how they've fared during well, from 1996 look through right until now, and you can see how there's been a general upward trend in models, well, most of the models during this period. But if you have a look, the ECMWF consistently comes out on top. This is the 5-day forecast, so this measures how accurate models are at 5 days, and you see the ECMWF consistently on top. GFS follows behind, almost in line with the UK Met Office model, and then behind them becomes the Canadian model as well in there. But you can see the ECMWF consistently on top, and this is the correlation of the ECMWF and the GFS for accuracy at 10 days. So this is even further out, and this is for the last month, and you can see how the ECMWF generally from about the 4th has been outperforming the GFS, and this is generally where it goes, and it's seen a correlation of about 0.65, which is not bad considering this is at day 10, and it's how accurate the model is at 500 millibars, and it shows that we can have a fair reliance in the ECMWF as probably getting things about right. But this becomes more important later on in this bulletin when I'll show you the longer range charts. But things at the moment are going milder. Of course, we've got milder, more unsettled conditions ahead for the next few days, and you see here from the GFS ensemble what it does with temperatures. Look, we see this fall off in temperatures so very gradually back end of this weekend. Yeah, it goes cool, but this is cooler than it will be over the weekend, which will be relatively mild. Temperatures around or below normal during this period, picking up again next week, look, but it tries to bring them off a little bit again as we run up to Christmas before they pick up by a degree or two. But generally it's quite a flat temperature there through the GFS ensemble. Okay, so what about the ECMWF? Well, this is a bit different. This is what I wanted to show you this morning. The ECMWF makes a different idea on the operational than it does on the ECMWF ensemble. This is the operational now. This is the 20th of December, just in here, okay? And see, it brings a peak of temperatures. This is at 850. This is 5,000 feet in the atmosphere. Brings a peak of temperature at about 4 degrees. Now, just look what it does after that. Sharp decrease, so that by the 23rd we're down at -5 at 850 across London. So there's a bit of a discrepancy there between this model, which is kind of just keeping temperatures flat there on the GFS ensemble, and this one, which basically brings them down as we get in towards the early Christmas period. Now, ordinarily, when models do diverge like this, you would kind of chuck the ECMWF out the window and say, well, it's probably going to be the GFS because that stacks up with most other models. But given these sort of correlations from the ECMWF, which is showing a better correlation at the moment than the GFS, you kind of have to sit up and take note. So exactly what is it doing? Well, this is the ECMWF in 24-hour steps. Okay, so we've got a deep trough out in the Atlantic just at the moment, according to the ECMWF, just in there. Okay, so watch what happens as the days progress. These go in 24-hour steps. Look, the trough swings through. Okay, now this becomes quite important as we head into the 18th, because look, we get a little area of low pressure that swings through the country, moves its way eastwards. We get a ridge at 500 millibars and a trough going into Europe here. So that brings in cooler northeasterly winds, which basically means that temperatures do fall off somewhat as we go in towards Tuesday, with those winds coming into the northeast. Now, the ensemble picks up on that as well in here, look. So it sees that temperature fall taking place, look, into the early part of next week, but then up they go again, but it's here. So there's agreement between the ECMWF and the GFS that that's likely to happen. But after that, look what happens. The ECMWF deepens the trough, makes it very sharp through Europe, builds the ridge across the UK, sharper trough out in the Atlantic. Okay, and the effect of this is that here's our area of low pressure, and the winds come in from the east or the northeast. Now, we're not talking depths of winter cold here, we're talking just turning cooler, but it keeps it that way for Wednesday. Now, what is interesting is that by Tuesday, look, the ECMWF puts low pressure out here. Okay, still got this deep trough, look, over Eastern Europe. There's our ridge and there's our trough. But then what it does is it slips this trough eastwards. Okay, so it slips it eastwards. Look, this is the 21st. Then by the 22nd, what it's doing is it's bringing this second trough through Central Europe, building the ridge out west and the trough in here. Then what it does is it sharpens up this trough across Eastern Europe, and it builds in this ridge out towards the west, and this maintains this cooler easterly flow through the country. Now, by Christmas Eve, look, there's our trough. It's almost got a cold pool cut off, and what we've then got is this development of an area of cold air at 500 millibars in here. This is almost developing a block in here. We get the shortwave trough coming into the British Isles and a ridge building out in the Atlantic. Now, ordinarily, as I said, you would kind of dismiss this and say, well, other models aren't following this pattern, but given the reliability of the ECMWF recently, we can't ignore this possibility. I'm not saying this will happen, so please don't message me in a few days' time saying, you said this would happen. I'm not saying this would happen. I'm showing you a possible scenario of what could transpire. Now, if the ECMWF has this correct, then what we could then see as we get into the 25th is the trough being even sharper through Europe here. Okay, a cold pool in here. So effectively you've got a cold pool here, cold pool here. Our secondary trough that we're seeing in here getting pushed northeastwards, linking in with this cold pool that's down across Eastern Europe, and then the ridge deepening, or rather extending itself in here. Now, the pressure pattern that would put us with is low pressure out here, high pressure probably in here, or higher pressure, and we probably see a wind flow that was something like that. Okay, so on a north or northeasterly for Christmas. Now, what it could potentially do is, if we find the jet pushed further south in here, we could have a little area of low pressure running through France. It could just bring some outbreaks of snow to France, but what it could do for the British Isles is make things cooler. Okay, so it could be that we actually go quite cold through the Christmas period. Now, what's the probability of this? Well, given that the GFS doesn't really back it up, the GFS ensemble, the ECMWF ensemble doesn't back it up either. But what's interesting and what makes it more noteworthy, these are the charts, by the way, from Weather Online, the cluster maps from Weather Online for 500 millibars. So these are the charts for midday on Christmas Day. Okay, these are the various clusters. So these are the runs of the ensemble model. It starts various different runs, and then we cluster them together to try and get an idea of confidence. And what this is showing, okay, is if we look at this set here, then we're looking at a westerly flow through the country. Then we look at the next set along, cluster 2, a west-northwesterly flow. Then we look at cluster 3, which brings in a westerly flow. And then we look at cluster 4, which is bringing in a west to northwesterly flow. So actually, what we have here are relatively cool flows. Cluster 2, cluster 3, and cluster 4 are all these flows. 2, 3, and 4 are actually relatively cold flows. Probably cluster 4 is the coldest, okay? But if we add these up, look, 15%, 25% of runs and 25% of runs, that gives us a total of 65% going relatively cool through the Christmas period. Cluster 1 probably sees temperatures around or just below normal for the time of year. And to be fair, probably cluster 2 is pretty similar. But certainly cluster 3, cluster 4 are looking on the colder side. So it's just interesting to monitor this and just to see how this situation develops. The chances at the moment are it's probably a milder green Christmas. That's probably running at around, I think, 70%. But I do think this 30% chance of it being colder from about the 22nd onwards, and we need to watch out. Okay, the JMA's been in today as well, the Japanese long range, and this is week 1. The British Isles are underneath here. Okay, so this is this week, and this runs from yesterday, because that's when the data is assembled for this, through to next Friday. So that's taken us up to Friday the 19th, and what it shows is below normal heights south of the country, the jet stream coming across the Atlantic. We're on the cool side and it's fairly unsettled. Then we take a look at week 2. So JMA week 2, what does it do? Well, we got low than normal heights look across the British Isles, across most of the Atlantic. So it just tries to bring in this westerly flow through the country. Although notice that the stronger jet is actually down here. So we stay unsettled, probably find that we may well find high pressure centered in here. That's going to be sending down a flow like so. So actually Scotland could be fairly cool, as could be Northern Ireland, more southern parts of the country probably below normal, but not desperately so. And that takes us from the 20th, from Saturday the 20th, up to Friday, sorry, no it doesn't, it takes us from Saturday the 22nd up to Friday the 28th. Then take a look into the new year. So this is the first 2 weeks of the new year. So this is taking us right the way up until what, Saturday the 11th, something like that, of January. And again, it's bringing in low the normal heights through here, so it's shifting the jet stream back north. But what it's not seeing just at the moment is my cooler weather that I've been predicting for that period around the 10th or the 11th of January. What it just wants to do is to bring in low the normal heights, drive a jet stream through and bring us into unsettled conditions with rain and also temperatures around normal for the time of year. So there's no real signs at the moment from the JMA of a blast of cold air, but we've got to keep our eyes on that ECMWF to see how the next run of the model develops tonight. I don't hold out much hope for cold over Christmas, but it's just interesting to see that it's there. But leading up to that, what have we got? Well, we've got a cool and settled week ahead, outbreaks of rain at times, and probably Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, being the coolest of the days. Okay, so lots and lots of information there for you. Don't forget the sites get free of charge by the adverts you see around the screen. By you using the adverts, by using the site, by using the charts, that's what keeps us free of charge. And don't forget the Weatherwise DVD and the Pocket Weather Forecaster book, and of course we've got the Sailors Book of the Weather and Grid for Sailors as well. So lots and lots of information. Just go and have a look at the website and click on books. Okay, stacks of information there for you. After all that, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to grab a coffee and then I'm going to go up the gym and spend an hour trying to get rid of some of this belly. Okay, well, thanks for watching. Have a great day and keep the sun shining. Bye for now.